This is Motorsport Radio.
Awesome, right?
The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome. It's Motorsport Radio here. My name is Lester and this is the Superbike Show. Joining us tonight, we are live, by the way. Joining us tonight, it is Jack Hammersley. Good evening, Jack. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Excellent. Jack's at home, relaxing, chilling out. We'll try and wake him up a little bit to welcome him, just in time to welcome our first guest on the show a bit later. I'll tell you who that is shortly. Also, as usual, joining us for now from some random location in Southampton, and I say for now because, well, we don't really know how well his internet's going to last, so he might pop in and out and it might become a shambles. But for now, he's here. It's Luke Newman. Hello, Luke.
Hello, Lester.
Hello.
This is going to be a nightmare.
That's the spirit. Start off on a positive.
Accommodation Wi-Fi.
Yes, he's not in his usual university studio this evening, so he's instead just stealing someone else's Wi-Fi. See how that goes. Because we are live this evening, you can get in touch with us and let us know your opinions on various things from the shenanigans at the Northwest 200. Was it right? Should it have happened? And who was to blame on various things? That sort of thing. Let us know. Use the comments box in the wherever you tune into this, because we are streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube as well. Hello, YouTubers, and various other places indeed. So get your comments to us this evening. Welcoming on to the show a bit later on, we have Matt Dunn of MotoGP from Dorna. Matt Dunn, a ornithological enthusiast. Later on the show, he'll be here to tell us. Probably, I'm going to guess he's going to toe the corporate line and not say anything controversial, which is where you guys come in, Luke and Jack. So you can, pin him up against the fence, so to speak, on his opinion on tyre pressures and the various rumours and scandals and whether a particular MotoGP journalist is getting a bit too much for everyone and should be banned. No? Okay. We all know who it is. Anyway, right, let's begin then with, some MotoGP, funnily enough. And, Luke, headlines.
Well, on the weekend, Enea Bastianini won his third race of the 2022 season as he claimed victory at Le Mans. In Moto 2, Augusto Fernandez claimed his first win in 2022 and his first win in the Red Bull KTM IO colours as he beat his teammate after he crashed out. In Moto 3, Jaume Masia has cemented himself as a pure championship challenger as he claimed his second win of the season. Over in the Northwest 200, Glenn Irwin did the double in the Superbike class as he won both races on the Saturday. Fellow British Superbike star Josh Brooks took a podium in race 2 for Poolbird Motorsport.
Yeah, you always rattle through that news and it always catches me out. There you go. Maybe we should add a bit of comment in there as well. That's pretty much about it, really, in terms of big bits of news, I think. Unless, Jack, Luke's missed something out in news.
The eSport world's only that there's been an announcement that with one of the riders. That's all it's been.
Oh, yeah. Was there this announcement? Did you say that's actually happened now?
Well, it wasn't for me, as I was maybe thinking, but it's with one of the other riders.
Okay. We will come back and talk to you about that. If you're not aware, Jack happens to be one of the world's foremost competitors in MotoGP esports and won at least one big race.
Well, it's not an official race. I've got third. That's my best finish.
Okay, on the podium then. One of the quickest MotoGP esport. What do you call yourself? Performers, riders, racers?
riders.
Yeah. In the world. We've been catching up with Jack and his online exploits, and we will continue to do so. So, MotoGP, real MotoGP, no offense. Bastianini, 3 wins so far this season, and he won at Le Mans. Overall thoughts on the race for you, Luke? Deserved winner? Could it have been... were you hoping for it to be someone else?
I think he definitely deserved to win. The pace he had was incredible. To think that his crew chief and himself before the race didn't believe that they had the pace to beat some of the other riders that looked incredible, like the 2 other Ducati riders, Jack Miller and Francesco Bagnaia. But obviously, Francesco Bagnaia crashed out of 2nd place after Bastianini passed him, and it just looked like the pressure got to Bagnaia, which it's happened before in the past. I think he's crashed out of 5 top 2 positions during his time in MotoGP, or he's DNF from 5 top 2 positions. One of those wasn't his fault in Jerez in 2020, but it looked like Pecco had almost gained a massive amount of confidence last season after that battle with Marquez, but still small little errors creep into his riding when he's leading or in 2nd, and it could be to do with the fact that he's not seeing like a psychologist to help with his mental state during the races, which could have led to him cracking under the pressure.
Ooh. What do you say, Jack? Mental, is he on the verge of a mental breakdown?
No.
Okay.
I think it's just Bastianini caught by him surprise. He got back, and it was sort of like Rossi 2.0 from 5 years ago, except Pecco crashed 2 corners later. So I think it was just, I don't know what it was, what caused the crash, because I don't think Pecco even knows, but it's a big mistake, because if he'd finished 2nd, his championship would have been properly back on track, but now it's reset again. He's probably going to have to win quite a few races to make up the difference, assuming Cosworth relation Bastianini don't make so many mistakes.
And overall thoughts on, how would you, we will get your rider ratings later in the show, Luke, and for those who don't know, we aim to reveal Luke's official rider ratings based on his personal opinions of those riders and his post-race emotional state, which we will get the views of later on. But overall, how much did you enjoy the race at Le Mans?
I actually enjoyed it quite a lot from a personal point of view. I actually had a friend to watch it with this time instead of sitting in my room on my own, which was very enjoyable. Someone who used to watch it years ago and stopped watching it, and I'm getting back into it with. So it was a good watch. I thought Bastianini controlled it really well. I thought Bagnaia would be the one that would control it well from the front, but it went Bastianini's way, and he's definitely putting his name in the hat to be in the factory Ducati squad come next year.
Okay, same question for you as well, Jack. Your enjoyment level of that race for you, if you were to rate it out of 10, what would you give it?
I don't think it's the best race we've had this season, but it was a decent race. As a Pecco fan, it wasn't quite enjoyable. But it was a good race, quite a lot of strategies. We've got some people complaining there isn't as many overtakes as before, but I think that's just probably playing the game and all this stuff about tyre pressures. Who knows? But it was a good race, just maybe a bit more action's needed.
A little bit more action.
On a hard track to pass that anyway, so probably have to take into account.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't know, later in the season when we experience some really dull Grand Prix, maybe we might sort of look back on this one and just think, wasn't that bad, to be honest. It was all right. I think. Maybe. I don't know. What do you think? Let us know. Get in touch. For you, then, Luke, just staying in GP, Jack Miller, he finished just under 3 seconds behind in second position on the podium, and Alish in third place. Another podium for Aprilia. This trend with Aprilia on the podium this season, and that combination is set to continue. Yes?
For the rest of the season, yeah, definitely. I genuinely think that if Aleix can keep going the way that he is and stay this consistent with how he has been, I think he's had one poor race this season, in my opinion, which was in America. And if they can continue how they are and they don't have any hiccups and Aleix doesn't get injured at all during the season, they could genuinely be championship contenders. They've been incredible to watch this season, and the way they're going is, it seems like they're only going to go up this season. And going into 2023, Aleix hasn't had an opportunity, from what it sounds like, to put pen to paper yet on an extension to his contract. So that could be something to keep an eye out on. But I imagine he will stay with Aprilia for future seasons.
Ooh. Jack, any thoughts on the other podium too?
Yeah, I think Miller did a good job. He finished second, which is probably the best he could get. And Aleix is just doing a fantastic job on the Aprilia, third podium in succession. And yeah, he's proving a lot of people wrong, and he's a proper title contender.
Proper title contender, but we're not seriously thinking he'll actually do it, though.
Never know.
He could.
So you really,
he keeps racking these up, and if people make mistakes, like Pecco does, and if Fabio still, can't get continuous podiums on the Yamaha, then it looks like Aprilia and Aleix just have found something this season, and it might just be, a fairy tale season for them, really.
Nah. I mean, it could, as you said, but nah. Yeah, talking about Quartararo, Fabio, who I forget each and every week, mostly straight away after we've gone off air, about predictions that we said would happen in the Grand Prix. But this particular prediction stuck in my mind, and I can judge by the way that you're both giggling that you made a prediction about Fabio. Just remind me what you said again, Luke.
I think I can speak for me and Jack here, that we both said if it stayed dry, he'd win it.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't win it. He didn't even get on the podium. So it's another prediction for me wrong, and Jack's joining me on this now.
Yeah, Bookie's favourite expert analysts of MotoGP, Jack Hammersley and Luke Newman. Yeah, what went wrong, Jack?
Well, it went wrong from the start. I don't know, because Le Mans is like the one track where it's like 50-50 whether you're going to use the whole shot device, because going into turn one, you didn't actually brake that hard from the start point. So that might have been a factor. I don't know if you used it, but you just had a really bad start, got severely just passed by everyone. It was about 9th, ended up lap 1. Then by the time he got up to about 5th, he just was stuck behind Aleix and just could not pass him. So, I mean, if he had free air, I mean, so this is probably the same for everyone, wherever they position themselves. But yeah, we just couldn't quite get past Aleix.
Yeah, interesting one, that one. I suspect he let a lot of people down, not being able to get past. Because I think, as you mentioned, Luke, last week, he was everyone's favourite to win. Home race. Clearly everyone's golden boy. And he underperformed. He flopped.
You can clearly see that you can clearly see that the French fans' atmosphere just almost completely changed towards the end of the race when they knew he wasn't getting past Aleix Espargaro. They were buzzing before the race, and then there was still an atmosphere there. You could still see it, but a lot of them you could see who definitely were Fabio fans and Zarco fans were a bit disappointed that neither of their boys could feature on the podium.
La Furious, perhaps, maybe. I don't know. Is maybe how.
I mean, Fabio is still putting together a good season. He is championship leader, so they can't be mad with that. And when you look at Fabio this season on the Yamaha, it's become a bit of a Honda situation where only Fabio can seem to ride it, because he has scored 76% of their points this season.
Okay, well, nice segue to actually talking about Honda. Marc Marquez finished 6th in the race, and his teammate Paul finished in 11th. Just give us a recap as to what went on and why, Luke.
Paul's race was, I don't know, he started 11th and finished 11th, so I've still, since Qatar, I've just not been impressed with Paul Espargaro. There's just been something that's not right, and I thought looking after pre-season he'd be up at the front in most races, but that's just not happened, and it's quite disappointing to see. Marc Marquez, another rider I predicted could be up towards the front end, but because he'd been improving in every race, but it just looked like maybe at Le Mans he just didn't have what it took to be at the front. I think he was
still suffering,
like
maybe
15. Yeah, it looked definitely that he wasn't. He's not physically there still, and I think he was about 15 seconds off the leader or something like that. I might be wrong, but I think that was the gap.
Yeah, Marquez ended exactly 15.1 seconds adrift from the race leader. Jack, Marc Marquez, is he still struggling, or is he getting the very best, or maybe a bit more out of that Honda?
Well, he's the best Honda, but I mean, you got his saves, and that could indicate that he has come back to what he used to be. But it's hard to say whether it's bike or rider. Probably bike at the moment. But I think I need to do a shout out to Taka Nakagami, who's finally put a decent result together, finished 7th. Beat his teammate by a mile.
Yeah, second and a half he finished behind Marquez. Decent, yeah, I would say.
Yeah. Seems like the win of Agora seems to have spurred him on quite a bit.
Okay. Same question to you, Luke. Is Marc Marquez getting the best? Is he overperforming as like where that Honda bike is at the moment, or given where his teammate is sort of struggling? Yeah,
he's definitely still the best Honda by far, and we all know that Marc Marquez is an incredibly talented rider, and that you can't take that away from him in any way. But it just looks like there's still, maybe it could be the way that the new bike has been set up, that he could be struggling with the way that they now have it, but he's still 10th in the championship. The nearest Honda's in 12th, which is his teammate Paul Espargaro. But Marquez, even though he's missed 2 rounds, is 10th in the championship, and his best results are 4th, and he's had 3, 6th and a 5th. So he's still performing well on that Honda, and you can't take that away from him.
Yeah, okay. Well, other talking points in MotoGP then. Luke, what have we got to potentially look at? I'm just going through the overall results here.
One person I do want to bring up, definitely, and it's Brad Binder. He finished in 8th, but he came from 18th on the grid, and he lost a wing very early on after a collision with Johan Zarco. And we've seen from comments from Romy Gardner that once a KTM loses a wing, it's practically unrideable. But Brad Binder he just turns into a different animal when he's in a race situation, and he just will find a way to make his way forwards. And I thought he had an incredible ride. Okay,
what do you think, Jack?
Yeah, it was as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh well, he's going to go backwards, and instead he went forwards. So it was very impressive, and he said it was like a shopping trolley when you have like a dodgy wheel and you can't steer. So he was having all those problems, and he still finished. He was top KTM before his teammate Miguel crashed at turn 4 or turn 3. So, it's a good ride, but it seems like KTM are still on the back foot compared to the other manufacturers.
Okay. Interesting one. Other standout performances for the right and or wrong reason. Luke. Maverick finished 10th. Vinales in the other Aprilia. Your thoughts on him?
Average, I guess. 10th place. He's gone back to his old Yamaha excuse of blaming the bike and saying that he's not going to change his riding style to suit the bike, which we've heard over and over again from Maverick. So, but the thing is, he's out of contract at the end of this year. The Aprilia has won a race this season, and it's a championship contender with Aleix Espargaro on it. So who's to say that Aprilia won't get frustrated with Maverick sort of slating them in the press and saying that he's not the problem, the bike is? It just seems silly for him to do so, because they could turn around and just sign a younger rider and from Moto2 and bring them through onto an Aprilia. So that'll be the only thing they've known in MotoGP. So they will adapt their style to it.
Yeah, good point. And it's almost like he knows he's kind of on the way out there, doesn't it, Jack? And that's why he's saying things and not, just keeping his head down and trying to get on with the job.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I can't remember what his best result is. I think a 7th at Termas or 8th, something like that. So compared to Aleix, it's been awful, but that's sort of been the whole story of Aleix at Aprilia, who seems to completely destroy all his teammates. So we know Maverick can beat Aleix because of what happened at Suzuki, but it seems like either Maverick just can't adapt to a V4 or there's just something not there for him.
Well, we'll rename him Mr. Average Vinales from now on, I think, as well. We'll let Luke rename him that, in case you're watching. He's not watching, is he? Other riders, not many other. Just looking at a few of the DNFs. Yeah, go on.
I'd like to... Go on, Jack.
Martin's 5th DNF of the season.
Yeah. That was one that I was going to talk about as well. But I was going to say, Fabio Gigi Antonio scoring his first points of the season. I think that's a good step for him. But yeah. That's all I have to say on Digi.
Fair enough. Okay. And Mir on that Suzuki. I think he only lasted 13 laps or something. Or thereabouts. Anyway, up to that point, Luke, how was his weekend going from your point of view?
Oh dear. I mean, it gone decently. I mean, the Suzuki's a bit of a sore subject in MotoGP at the moment, probably, if to talk around the paddock. But I mean, he still crashed while running towards the front, and so did Rins, and that'll get reflected in my rider ratings for my the two boys that had been leading it early on in the season. But seems like Rins is going over to his teammate as well. Seems like Rins is becoming the old Rins, and Mir, I was a bit surprised to see Mir hit the deck, to be honest, but it's very similar to what Bagnaia did as well later on in the race.
And your thoughts as well, Jack?
Well, with Suzuki, Mir, I feel like he just made a mistake. It's very uncharacteristic of him, because I don't think he's had a DNF by himself for quite a while. And then with Rins, he fell victim to what Bezzecchi and Zarco did in the free practices, except Rins was in the situation where he was in big danger of hitting Pecco and Miller. So he sort of had to hit the brakes, which then caused him to lose the front, and he went down. Because at that point, he was in third, he was looking really good, could have possibly won the race, and that not happened. So I don't actually know why that kept happening at turn 1 for a couple of them. Maybe it was the wind or the wings or just going in too fast or something. But seems like both their seasons are pretty much over now for a championship challenge, possibly.
Well, all those views are interesting and as valid as they all are, and we do like to welcome other people's opinions on the show here on the Superbike Show. You don't just have to agree with me and disagree with Luke, especially when it comes to making predictions about certain things. We also like to hear from people on the ground with their ear to the ground to find out what the inside gossip is as well, especially people in the industry as well. And joining us on the internets, it is, please welcome, of MotoGP fame, please welcome, it is Matt Dunn. Hello, Matt.
Hi, how's it going? I'm sure you've got the wrong person if you want some inside gossiping scoops. I don't know anything. So, but thanks for having me on anyways.
Well, we did speculate, perhaps, being the professional person working for MotoGP, we wouldn't see too many bombshells or nothing controversial, which is kind of what, we're here for, really. But, yeah, I mean, still, it's great to have you on the show. And, well, I mean, how's life, first of all?
That is good. It's a bit tiring, thank you. But the start to the season has been pretty full on, if I'm honest. The 4 flyaways we had to start the year, and 2 back-to-backs we've had so far. Le Mans was quite a welcome change, just a small European flight. Go there and come back home, and going to see family and some friends now, thankfully, which is nice. Hopefully.
And you live in the UK, don't you? You used to live in Barcelona?
Yeah, I lived in Barcelona for 5 years when I jetted off out of the UK after uni 21, and went and got the job with Dorna and moved out there. Stayed there for 5 years, and then after COVID, everyone had big epiphanies, decided what they wanted to do for the rest of their life, which might have been different from what they imagined before COVID. And my version of that was it was time to leave Barcelona and move back to the UK, and with it, turning freelance as well, but still working for Dorna, which is sort of the main goal there.
Best of both worlds, perhaps.
Aye, definitely, yeah.
Thank you for coming on the show, as I said. Luke and Jack, I'm sure, have got loads of questions for you, and I'll be checking the old comments box and sifting through some of the best comments, if anyone's
probably just mainly abusive ones, saying, is he 15 or 50, like they did on the Instagram live the other day.
I never had the same thought when I saw you. I mean, I was watching the Red Bull Rookies Cup, and it was I had to remember what you actually looked like, and then it was like, oh, that is Matt Dunn. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But yeah, sorry, Luke.
Yes. So Moto E, Matt. Obviously, it's really close at the front so far this season. What have you made of the racing so far?
This year, I mean, just off the scale, it's brand new, isn't it? It's same as normal. You got the new bikes, which are 15 kgs lighter. Everyone's had to adjust their riding style. Some people don't like it. Motorbike racers, ever the conservatives, they don't like anything becoming a little bit different. Oh no, I've got to change myself. Oh no. But I've got credit for a few of them. They're quite open-minded on that sense. They're spoke to a few, and they go, oh, it's the same for everybody. A couple of others go, oh no, it's not as what I had before. And but the technology's advancing. It's been great, and you're still seeing some wild overtakes. It's not exactly the different feeling on the front end which they've all got, because of that difference in weight transfer has stopped overtaking or changed the manner in which they overtake. It's still just dive bomb moves up the inside and hanging it out around the outside. It was eager to come around the turn 12 in Le Mans, and then a few of the guys there just absolutely pinning it out there, the rear wheel bucking. It's blockbuster as always. You got the lack of sound, which obviously everybody cares about. I try and make up for that with the commentary, and then the action's all the same and just as exciting. So what's not to love?
Obviously, Ducati are taking over, I believe, next year. What are you thinking ahead of them bringing over their machine for that?
Well, really exciting, isn't it? Like I saw the videos of Pirro and Chaz Davies having a little duke. It looks like around about up to 100 miles an hour or so. The MotoGP bike and the Moto E bike are pretty even Stevens, because it's not like that video that was posted online was a request from Ducati. It's not as if they went, oh, let's let's do a promotional video about our Moto e-bike versus the MotoGP bike. That was just Piro's mate going, they're doing a practice start. Let's see how it goes. So it's not as if they like proper wound down the power on the Ducati or anything like that, and to make it look better. This is the real thing. Until about 100 mile an hour, they're pretty even. And then, of course, as it is, the MotoGP bike took off ahead. But wow, it looks so rapid already. It's going to bring the cultural aspect that Ducati brings to everything they do, the cultural popularity to it. It looks cool, it looks sleek, and I don't know anything about the sort of the agreements in place between them and Dorna to actually be the main manufacturer, but Ducati don't do things by halves. They will want a say in things like the marketing aspect for it, and I think it's probably the best thing that could happen to Moto E, and credit to Energica for what they've done so far. But to see a top flight manufacturer come on board is wow. That's really what the series needs going forward further, I think.
I was going to say, do you think a massive name like Ducati will bring more attention into Moto E from fans?
No doubt. I mean, they got their stores all over the world. They've all got photos of their promotional shoots that they do, and what's not to say they won't be having big, massive Moto E canvases in there and display bikes, replicas. They've got the budget to be able to do like a replica bike. They can have all these different shows and everything, which Energy could do already as well. But Ducati's just got such a bigger global presence. Like, it's going to be a good thing for sure.
So, Matt, obviously, I've alluded a little bit of this question to you over messaging, but now you live in the great county of Oxfordshire, like me, where I'm from. Will you have any preference for Bradley Smith when he returns, since he's an Oxfordshire boy?
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, I'd love to see Bradley do well. He's a great guy, good ambassador for the sport and things like that. But yeah, I try and my rule for my favourites is the underdog in any given situation. I don't care who's racing. It could be a rider which last week I wasn't cheering for. If he's the underdog in that particular scenario the next week, that's who I'm cheering for. So, but I would love to see Bradley get those wins though. I mean, he was so close when he was last properly in it and fighting up the front. It would be nice to see once again.
A big question for you now, Matt. So, who is going to be the Moto E champion as it stands in your opinion?
No idea. Come on, you guys watch Moto and free practice whenever, or like warm-ups when Neil, my co-commentator, says, I put him on the spot, who do you think? He says, I think I'll name about half the grid. I have no idea. We've had, 4 races now, so 10 left. Anything can change in an instant like that. I honestly don't know. All I am thinking of is, but if I was to pin one name down, I think Egerter's going to have just that little bit more drive than everybody else after being so pissed off about last year.
So moving over a little bit to MotoGP, it looks like Suzuki are gone from MotoGP now. What are your thoughts on this?
Gutted to see, mainly for all the people that lose their jobs. That's the most difficult part of this. I'm sad for the championship. I'm sad for Suzuki that for whatever reason they didn't find the justification or return on investment of what they're putting into the sport. For whatever reason that is, it's not really for me to discuss. Sort of and gossip about that, to be honest, the ins and outs. But it was, it's just incredibly sad, difficult, and it was funny because before that happened, the rider market and everything like that was so quiet. There was no talk about it, no nothing. I was looking, it's normally around this time of the year where we're talking about what's happening with MotoGP and the potential impacts that's already going to have on the Moto2 Championship and then the Moto3 Championship. And there was nothing before that. And then all of a sudden it's like a bomb's gone off. And where's these two amazing riders going to go? Okay, coming into this year, if Rins was having a similar year this year that he had last year, you might be thinking, oh, well, the gossip is he's off to World Superbikes. But the way he's performing this year, he's put it this way. Myself and Matt Burt walked into the paddock on Thursday in Le Mans, and the first person who properly came past us was Alex Rins on a scooter. Zipped past us and went, "Hello, guys," with a big smile. And yes, he was obviously still quite shocked and very sad about the situation. But that kind of enthusiasm is not the one of someone who's thinking, "I've lost my job and I'm probably out of MotoGP." That's just someone of, "I've lost my job for now," Yeah. And so it's a big deal, and I can't even tell you what's going to happen. I've been reading lots of articles about things today, and it's all very interesting. You hear lots of gossips and fake news, as Paul Espargaro described. So, what do you guys make of it?
It's a bummer really for the whole sport, because 2020 champions with Mia. Obviously, I get if it's financial reasons, but it shouldn't be. They shouldn't have to leave like this really when they have two great riders.
And also just abiding by contracts, I guess too.
Yeah. Well, we speculated previously on the show last week that given whatever the contractual situation is, maybe it would be more cost effective in the short term for them to actually just stay in at least till another year. Maybe I don't know if that's an option.
Right, I have no idea. That's the big debate, isn't it? And I guess you'll get your answer to that depending on what actually happens. The official Dorna statement that came out was very clear, and it was just announced last year that they're staying until 2026. There's going to be a financial penalty in that. What it is, who knows? Only that's between Dorna and Suzuki. I don't even know if there's a contract for the manufacturers that's uniform across all of them between Dorna. It could be individual. I don't actually know. So I wonder whether, who knows? Maybe because of what they did before, maybe they've got different clauses or penalties. Who knows? They were part of David Emmett talks a lot about the significance of the CRT period in MotoGP. And how that was such, in his belief, he thinks is quite understated, how important a move it was from Carmelo Ezpeleta to bring the CRT movement in there when after Suzuki had already departed, and Honda or whoever were kicking off, etc., and saying all sorts of things that you do in negotiation strategies. For them to come out and actually make the CRT thing a success and bring in the spec rules that they've got at the moment that they've had for the last several years and the technological changes they've made has just been, that's a complete masterstroke. And so you're not dealing with mugs here. These are people who dot their I's, cross their T's. They know what's going on. And we'll see what happens on that front.
I guess you sort of alluded towards my next question for you of where do you think Mir and Rins will actually end up?
I don't see any place for Mir to go other than the Repsol Honda, to be honest. That's just. I'd be surprised if he went anywhere else. For Rins, I don't know. It depends on what happens with the team situation and things like that. If there is a replacement, because I saw some statements saying it's possible there might not even be a replacement team on the grid. Then I saw others. There's the story about American Racing have made no hiding of the fact that they want it. Gas is a potential other manufacturer that could take it. Leopard have been in the news saying they want it. They've always wanted that stuff. Whoever else, I can't remember. It depends on what happens with those as well. I don't know where Vince could go. He could end up at something like Yamaha. He's a very good inline four rider. So maybe that would be the best choice for him. But then what's happening with Haslam's team next year? What happens with Darren Binder? Some people saying, Dobby's not going to be here next year, etc., etc. There's so many variables to know. I think I said this on Commentator at one point. I don't think even anybody actually knows what's happening right now. I don't think any decisions have been played. There's no smoke and mirrors. Nobody knows. They're still talking, trying to work it out and negotiating.
I'm going to sort of switch it more towards yourself now. So how and why did you start your journalism career?
I'm not a journalist. I'm a terrible journalist. To be honest with you, I just I don't really like the gossip side. I don't have enough knowledge of the sport riding. I don't have a riding history personally. I've ridden bikes before in my life, but I've never raced or anything like that. I don't have the technological know-how. I don't have the riding know-how. The thing that I'm interested in are the human stories behind racing. That's what I like the best. I would describe myself more as of someone like a content creator in the space, or like a storyteller. If you're not careful, you sound very you don't sound great if you use the word storyteller sometimes. But like I use, for example, I decided to use commentary. To me has been an avenue where I get to learn the stories behind riders and the teams in order to learn how to create better content around them. I've been doing that for Dorna for the last few years. This year is the first year I'm actually pretty much just solely doing commentary as a sort of there's a lot of changes going on in the championship things, and as I'm trying to sort of navigate what my future completely holds, I would say. But I first got into it because I was the social media editor in MotoGP. I did a blog prior to that called Paddock Chatter with quite a few people who now work in the industry, the likes of Ollie Rushby, who's Yamaha BSB press officer, Alana Fellows, who's a production head of one of the producers in BT Sport in MotoGP, and Dave Neal, who does the OMG racing press and also off-track podcast, and a bunch of others as well. We did the Paddock Chatter blog and Twitter account for quite a while, and off the back of that, due to some conversations I had with Dorna at the time, they had some job openings as a social media editor, so I got that job. At 21, I took it. I moved to Spain. And whilst I was there, as things happen in Dorna, you end up dipping your fingers in lots of different pies, and one of them was doing some video voiceovers. I like a bit of a laugh. I'm a bit too loud sometimes, so in the office I was always making jokes and stuff like that. So they made me do this kind of more funny video called, what was it called? Missing the Apex? Yeah, because the film's Hitting the Apex, isn't it? So it's Missing the Apex was the name that came up with the video. And so I ended up doing voiceovers for that, cracking terrible jokes, as I always do. Everybody hates it, but I like it, so you got to make yourself laugh, don't you? And they probably just gave me that gig to shut me up and keep me in a video booth for about like an hour. But whatever the case was, when Dylan Gray moved from pit lane and Nick Harris retired, they had a shuffle around in the commentary team. They said, Matt, would you like to do some commentary? And next thing I know, I'm off to travel with MotoGP doing commentary, and then still trying to do some actual content creation on site. That's a very long-winded story, sorry.
So when you were doing the content creation, did you have any aspirations of being a commentator at the time, or was it just when the opportunity came up you decided to go for it?
Opportunity. It's funny, I can categorically tell you, never in my life did I ever want to be a commentator. Never. Until it actually got pitched to me. That I could do commentary. I had never considered it, never thought about it. I didn't want to do it. I don't want to, but the thing for me is I don't want to watch the sport I love from behind the screen. I want to see it happen in person. And that's kind of the same, and yes, okay, it kind of sounds silly now, like that's always been my thing, which I didn't want to do. And then now, because it comes up, we did the Moto2, Moto3 free practice thing. There was time available to, learn how to be a commentator first and foremost, because you need to actually learn how to do that job. It's not just, lots of people think you just pick up a mic and you press go and you just start talking. You have to actually, understand like a running order first and foremost, what you're actually going to be seeing on screen. You've got to learn how to communicate it as efficiently and as most entertaining as and appropriately as possible, depending on who your audience is. So there was a lot to learn. So I used that time initially to do that. And then other things in content creation came along, like you get in your phone content in other points. Like I had been going to the Grid and part of Ferme to get photos and videos for the MotoGP Instagram channel. And then content creation took a form of we were producing long form videos for a couple of years too. Things like we did a show called Pass the Mic where the riders would interview each other. And then also there was the MotoGP podcast, which I'm no longer a part of, but I did that for 3 years, and interviewing the riders and team managers, other people in the sport. So it's been using commentary to supplement and develop communications and storytelling skills, essentially. which is going to look absolutely shit if I actually don't communicate very well in these stories.
You do pretty all right. I did notice you started. Well, I mean, I'd recently noticed it. I don't know if it was a very new thing. Live TikToks of just you and a camera guy walking around the grid, just Ted Kravitz style, just having a mooch around, just seeing what's what. Exactly. That's very good.
That was a brand new thing. We did that in Portugal because TikTok, the actual company, came and provided some sort of tips and on-site help for the MotoGP press officers. They did like a workshop with them. And then as they were there all weekend, we sort of the social media coordinator called Sophia, who's an unbelievable sort of human being in how she coordinates everything. She's basically the social media manager. There's no official social media manager position in MotoGP, but Sophia coordinates about a team of 25 people and has meetings with like the biggest and top people in Dorna and the broadcasters at the teams and stuff like this. She's very capable, got a lot of things on her plate. And in that weekend and those workshops, TikTok were like, hey, can you do a live on TikTok on the MotoGP official account? And I was there and available, so yeah, I went and did that. That was good fun. Then we decided to give it a whirl on Instagram to see what the metrics are like on there back in Le Mans, which was really good fun. The brief was just sort of 30 seconds of me like just presenting to begin with, and then essentially just commentating what we see. It's not quite a grid walk.
It's a nice behind-the-scenes look of sort of an unscripted, unscheduled, mooch about, really, which is good.
Yeah.
We don't get
exactly the way I thought about it was like because having been on the grid before, like doing photos and videos, like during COVID, because there were the press officers and there was like limited people on the grid. I was getting photos and videos for the press officers to use on their team's social media channels, and during that time, you learn and you experience different moments. Like I think I said on the IG Live, my absolute favourite moment of the whole weekend is the moment where there's fans across from the stands and they're all sort of chatting and occasional cheering and like there's an occasional voice that shouts out like the name of a specific rider. And all the teams and everyone just waiting. The mechanics have got right next to the tyre warmers. They're just waiting. The bikes haven't started yet. The riders putting on their helmets and everything like that, just waiting for pit lane to open. Pit lane opens for everyone to go to the grid, and that moment that the first bike fires up in pit lane, and especially as it was in France where it's Fabio, his bike was the first to light up in pit lane, and he walked out and the crowd just went nuts. They roared like nothing you ever hear. And it's his bike, the MotoGP bikes sound nasty, like proper snarling lions and tigers. And the way he rolls out there, that specific moment is my absolute favourite moment of any weekend ever. And so in experience that before, learning that, I really wanted to communicate that over on the Instagram Live. And then there's another moment which we missed because of I think we got booed off the grid then. The next one is when the tension breaks again when the safety car takes off with 3 minutes to go or 5 minutes to go, whichever one it is. I think it's 3 minutes to go. The safety car takes off from the front of the grid and does a lap and then comes around the back. You hear that take off, and that's the moment also when the riders properly start getting their helmets on, everything like that, the tension changes again, and that's the kind of things which I wanted to show and talk about because the people on those lives maybe have never seen it before. It gets shown not just on the MotoGP page and to their followers, but to other people too, and that sort of stuff which I guess they don't really communicate that on TV because they've got their pre-shows and stuff like that which they talk about there.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Jack has, I believe, a couple of questions.
Shoot, yeah.
Yeah, so you do the Red Bull rookies. Is there any riders that you've seen, whether it's how many years ago we've gone, he could be one for the future and you've always kept their eye on?
Red Bull rookies. God, I'm going to have to go to the grid here actually as well because some of the names sort of, I don't want to miss people out who I want to sort of say that I really rate him. But first and foremost, like from this year, is Jose Rueda. He is a real talent. He did the wild card the replacement ride back on Le Mans. I think people really have to watch out for him. He's a very shrewd character. He's won in lots of different ways. He's ran away with it completely, and then he's also done a battle right to the line a few times. Last year there was David Alonso who won it. He did much of the same as well. He was just a dominant force. He was so clever. He was also, the thing I like about him is which I also think is an underestimated thing in the sport, is the way he communicated in Parc Ferme. He was very thorough in his Parc Ferme interviews with Dominica, and was really talking about his race, a play-by-play sort of moment of how he won it. Some people might have been like, God, is he still talking? But it's important to listen. It's important for him to do that sort of thing, and it shows how analytical he was in his thinking. I really think he is going places. Rueda, let's just say his Parc Ferme interviews need a lot of work, mainly because of his English. Bless him, he's quite nervous, but he's still really red hot. Casey O'Gorman has really impressed me, actually, to be honest. Not just how he's raced, but also his attitude when he gets off it. I went and asked him in Jerez race 2, I think it was, after race 2. Yeah, yes, it was. How was that? The first thing he said to me was just, God, that was the best race ever in my life. I've enjoyed that more than any other race ever. That was fantastic. I think he just missed out on the podium, didn't he? He didn't get a podium in race 2 in Jerez. I can't exactly remember. But whether he missed out or not, was he on there? He did. Yeah, he did miss out. So he just missed out, right? And I thought, he's going to be really miffed, as they are. But no, he was buzzing. He was so happy to be there and doing that. And yet you could still tell he's got the fire in him to push him on a lot more. I've also got to give out a shout out to Harrison Voigt too. He's the Aussie kid. He's going places too. Got a lot of time for him. He's good friends with Scott Ogden as well, the Moto3 World Championship rider. Them two are very, very alike. Harry's like the Australian version of Scott, I think, in how they get on and they go about things, and I think he's going places too.
Domi Agata, one thing I think is really impressive is how from one weekend he's able to ride the 600. Everyone else, then he can go to Moto3 and do exactly the same job. Does that impress you?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, how can it not? I mean, it's. I'm sure all your the followers and the viewers of the show are very, very learned. It's. You can break it down to, well, they're all bikes. Got 2 wheels, a brake and a throttle. That's it. That's fine. It is so much more complicated than that. The weight distribution, the way you have to ride the bike, you change it. I think Xavier Simeon, the world endurance rider, he was in Le Mans, and we asked about Nicolo Canepa because they're good friends, and Canepa got his first Moto3 podium. And wondered, did the Le Mans experience on the Superbike give him any advantage? And Xavier was like, no. Because it's completely different braking markers, where you apply the throttle, maybe even lines and things like that, to be able to adapt from one to the other. And not just that, but podiums and then a victory as well. It's just good for him, good for Dom. He's really found his calling. I think in an ideal world, he would still like to be fighting out in the Moto2 World Championship. But I think he needs to find, and I hope maybe he has by now, and I'm wrong, but I like to think he would find contentness in performing where he is at that highest level at the moment.
So MotoGP, obviously, they go to a lot of different countries. What's your favourite place you've been to?
Without a shadow of a doubt, Austin in Texas is the best place off the track, and I think at the track as well. Without Marquez just absolutely dominating it and it being a foregone conclusion that he's going to win, the racing, as we saw, was really good too. So it goes to show the track actually is very entertaining to watch, and the American fans are really good fun, and Austin as a city is fantastic. Well, it's got a bit of everything there. It's got great food, a great scene, bars, restaurants. It's got, if you're into fitness, I do a lot of running. I like to think I'm a runner. I'm just, a fast jogger occasionally, and there's a beautiful running trails. They've got wildlife as well. They have these bats from South America which live under the bridge there, millions of them. And every night from April through to September, they flood the skyline of the city and stuff like that, which you can see from about 7 p.m. every evening. It's just awesome. Great place to visit. Expensive, but great place to visit.
What's your favourite race that you've seen and commentated on?
I can't say that, to be honest. The only one I could ever say the one that sticks most vivid in my memory, if I was saying from the MotoGP circus, would be Barcelona 2009, because I remember that year was one of the first years that I really started paying attention to. How old was I then? 15? I was 15 in 2009, and I remember it was just me at home watching on the BBC and just screaming at the TV, Rossi versus Lorenzo. It was just brilliant. In person, though, my favourite race I've ever watched is BSB 2011 finale with Tommy Hill and John Hopkins racing each other. Quite privileged to through some of the. I was working on a video series with American Racing and Joe Roberts and Cam Bobier the last couple of years, and then also we did the podcast as well. So I've gotten to know John Hopkins quite well over the last few years, and to think that was my shout for him to win back in 2011, getting that victory, that was one of the coolest races I've ever seen in my life.
Iconic moment still to this day, and it's perhaps one of BSB's most watched clips ever. And probably the montage to end the season as well, like on Eurosport. I think it's still on YouTube. It's just like I could watch it over and over again. Yeah, and Jack Bernicle's commentary as well, just perfect. Yeah. For that, Luke, final couple of questions before we let Matt go and refill his massive cup of Yorkshire tea. I got to ring my parents after this. Actually, I've not spoken to him for a couple of weeks, so that's where I'll be going. Fair enough.
My final question, really, for you, Matt, is who has been your favourite rider of all time?
I don't. Staying true to my sitting on the fence rule, I don't have a favourite rider of all time. I've had favourite riders throughout my racing watching career. My first ever hero of racing was Neil Mackenzie, and then it was Steve Hislop, and then it was Steve Plater, and then it was Greg Lavia, and then who would it have been after Greg Lavia? And then I sort of just didn't really have it. I guess like Rossi would have ended up being one of them. Marquez was one of them as well, because he's a year older than I am, and so when he first started winning, he had that amazing run in 125s, when he first got that victory from Mugello and then just won however many races in a row. Thinking this guy's like a year older than me whilst I was finishing my GCSEs, I think. I was like, this is unbelievable. What a human being. This is incredible. And then now, I really like where Fabio's come from. I like all of them, mate. I don't have any hero of all time. Rossi obviously is one of my absolute favourites. In my opinion, he is the greatest of all time. But in terms of my absolute favourite, I just have so many. I'm such a whistle that's in that front, really. Yeah, no problem. Well, there was one other question that I'd speculate before we came on air. Or maybe, I don't think I said it out loud. I can't remember. For those who don't know, and maybe a lot of people who follow your Twitter account will know, that you're a big fan of birds, the avian variety. And Jack and Luke have asked all the obvious like MotoGP and sort of professional questions, and they've left it up to me to ask about comparing MotoGP riders to particular birds. And I thought maybe it's the sort of thing you might have thought about. What, you mean comparing them to individual bird species?
Yeah. Because, who would be like, the owl of MotoGP or a hawk or something like that?
Do you know what? That's actually one of the best questions I've ever thought about to do with this. Because, you know what? I've never actually thought about it. That's really funny.
Yeah, no,
that's really good. That. I mean, everybody in some ways, depending on your facial structure, we all resemble birds in some way. Like,
because you know a lot more about birds than I do. I can tell you that. And I'm guessing that they're very different. You have different personalities and that sort of thing. Just like MotoGP riders.
Yeah, true. They do. So do you know what? Someone in my mind, falcons are really highly strung. All of it, because individual birds have such a small. Because I worked in falconry before I worked in MotoGP. I did my work experience there, and it was my job on the side doing display falconry, a job on the side of doing university and stuff, and what I've realised since working with them and other people who work with them, each type of bird of prey has like a limit of about 3 different personalities between the whole species. It's like that sort of range. They're not all so individualistic like us. So I think I can categorically say, for some reason in my mind, and it's not a MotoGP rider, I'm sorry, But Tony Arbolino is without doubt, if he was a bird, he'd be a type of falcon, because the falcons are always ready to go. They are they sit there like on their perches and things like that. They're flapping their wings all the time. They often bob their heads. When they bob their heads, that's what they use to focus on things. Owls sort of move their heads around and things like that. Like lots of people love watching them, and when they're at a bird center, they're like, oh, look at that owl moving its head. What he's doing is he's focusing on you. It's like using the manual roll on your camera lens, essentially, right? They don't. It's like they don't have automatic focus on their eyes. They have manual, and so that's when a falcon's bobbing. That's what it's doing. And I would say Tony Arbolino is quite like that, to be honest. That's one that really pops into my head instantly. Who else would be like a falcon? Fabio's a bit like a falcon as well. And that front, he's always quite like ready to go. Pecco Bagnaia would be without doubt an eagle owl. They're very sort of eagle owls, very grandiose, very intentional in their movements, like the adult ones, generally speaking. They don't move much. They can just be sat there, just with their sort of eyes shut and just sort of like looking around slowly like that. That's what he looks like on the grid, actually. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think about on the grid the other day. When we were filming him watch the Can-Can dancers, Moulin Rouge dancers. And he just sits there, and I realize, he just sits there all the time like this, with his arms folded, just sort of looking ahead. Just very small, subtle movements. And that, for me, he's like a great horned owl. That's how I describe it. So there's your answer.
Wow. See, I had a feeling that you had given it a bit of
coverage.
I mean, I think of these sorts of stupid sort of questions, really, but yeah.
I have to do all those threads. You know, those threads where it's like F1 drivers as cats, or Benedict Cumberbatch as otters and stuff like that. I'm going to have to do MotoGP riders as birds of prey.
Well, I'll let you take the credit for it anyway, so yeah. At least it's better than what some people post on Twitter. Anyway, moving on. Thank you very much, Matt, for coming on the Superbike show here on Motorsport Radio. And good luck with the rest of the season. And we'll hopefully drag you back on and check back in with you at some point. Maybe after the season.
Absolutely, yeah. Hopefully your calendar's kind in the second half of the season. We'd love to jump on again. If I press the hang up button, I'm not going to end it all, am I? I'm all good, eh?
Oh yeah, you're okay there. It's fine. Okay. Thank you anyway, Matt.
Yeah, lovely to speak to you all. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Cheers,
bye. There we go. Matt Dunn, everyone, of MotoGP. I said I was going to ask it. I can't remember if I said that on air or not, or what.
Yeah,
did I?
You said it just before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've done it now. I did it. Whatever. It was just one of those questions. Like you see like a meme of like a man and a woman in bed, and she's like a speech bubble, and she's thinking, "Oh, I wonder what he's thinking," and he's thinking of some stupid question. Like, "Oh, I wonder if dogs could speak in a different language, would they have accents?" Just a stupid thing. But anyway, Matt Dunn there, everyone. And interesting, he doesn't come across in real life the way he does online and on these broadcasts, but I suppose he's very professional on these broadcasts. Not that he's not professional there, but it's just you build up a picture of what someone might be like if you don't know them, don't you? And then to actually meet them and have a bit of a chat with them, you think, oh, okay, not what I thought. So, yeah. Nice guy.
We'll have to get him on again so we can have a full list of what every MotoGP rider would be as a bird, because that was quality.
Well, you know, I mean, some people say that. I mean, I didn't need to go to university, guys, for years and years to come up with hard-hitting journalistic questions like that. Stuff that really gets to, under the skin of other journalists for coming up with nonsense. But anyway, really appreciate him entertaining that. He could have just told me to shut up, to be honest. But there you go. Matt Dunn, everyone. Nice to have him on the show. And, we didn't ask him we've asked pretty much everybody else who's ever been on from Dorna. How do you get into motorsport broadcasting? How do I get into being a commentator? And we didn't ask him that. No, we didn't. Anyway. What were we talking about before Matt came on, we were talking about MotoGP, funnily enough, yes. Moto, is there any other big pressing stories that we've not touched on, Jack or Luke? Any other big glaring omissions? Tyre pressures? No?
They've sort of come to an agreement on that. I don't know if Jack's going to know more than me on this.
Something like they've had a discussion. It's either in 2023 or 4. There's some technology they're working on to make sure everything's fair, but they don't have it yet. So everything's staying as it is. So that basically means any rider can go under the tyre pressure rule, I guess. But I don't really understand the whole situation. It's very strange.
I think I suggested last week that they were kind of in a bit of a corner with it, having not done something instantly, and they've kind of left it a bit. They're kind of stuck, really, aren't they?
I think sort of what I read is that Dawn are aware of it happening, and it's happened to other riders than just Pecco and Heref. So, but they can't do anything about it at the moment. So it's sort of just like a gentleman's agreement in a way that they know it's happening, they can't stop it. So let's just not fret about it this season, and then next season, I think potentially maybe 2024, like Jack said, that when this new rule or technology comes in, that will be sorted.
The official Dorna position. Let's not fret about it.
That's more the riders' sort of side. I think that they're not going to sort of run and tell on each other to race direction about it.
Well, no, it might be the team boss's role, perhaps. But anyway, moving on to, unless anyone has any other MotoGP stories or points to mention, I was going to move on to some Moto2 action. Well, let's do that then. Because it was, just double checking, I'm looking at the podium, Fernandez, Aaron Canet, but he did, and Chantra in third, the French Grand Prix podium in Moto 2. Luke, your thoughts?
Well, I think Jack's not going to like the point I'm going to make, but Pedro Acosta threw it down the road. There might have been a reason than what I know. I haven't really seen much, but it looked to me that he wasted a very good chance to score some much needed points in his some big points in his rookie season in Moto2. He looked comfortable out front, but in the end, obviously, it was his teammate Augusto Fernandez, and that was the first time this season that a Red Bull KTM IO bike has been on the podium after a very successful year last year with Raul Fernandez and Remy Gardner.
Yeah, the win just under 4 seconds from Aaron Canet, and all three podium under 5 seconds. Jack, your thoughts on the podium?
Yeah, I mean, Augusta did a perfect job after following Pedro until his crash. But I think he was just a little bit wide at La Chapelle, and that just caused him to crash. And then you had Canet and Chantra and Bobier. Bobier from 17th from the grid was battling for the podium, and each one was making mistakes here and there, and Canet and Chantra got the best of it. But it seemed like I think the temperature was increasing throughout the race, and then you saw one by one about 11 of them crashing out. Then you had Vietti, who was nowhere all weekend really, and then he went into the gravel. Then after he went in the gravel, he gained this amazing late race pace and went from about 17th to 6th or to 8th, something like that. I can't remember what position he ended up in.
8th place he was.
Yeah, but he had the pace where he had not made that mistake, he probably would have been possibly contending for the podium.
Yeah, Vietti, as Jack said, they finished in 8th place, 20 seconds adrift, just behind Joe Roberts. Did you keep an eye on Vietti, Luke? His race, how did it go from your point of view?
I definitely did keep an eye on him, especially since Sylvain Gintoli, before the race, said that he could be one for the podium, and Neil Hodgson ruled out very quickly, and since Neil Hodgson ruled it out. I thought there might have been a chance that Celestino could go well, but yeah, he didn't look to be anywhere all weekend, like Jack said, and then it just something clicked after he went in that gravel trap, and it just seemed to work for him. I don't know if it helped that some riders in front of him crashed out, but he seemed to make his way up the order, and the ride that he put in is a ride of champions in a way, where they're having a bad weekend and it looks like they're going to come away with 1 or 2 points maybe, but they stick with it and eventually sort of get a decent result out of what looked like it would be nothing.
I've just been having a quick look at the some of the race stats on the MotoGP.com website. Pole position 1 minute 35.8. That was Pedro Acosta in Moto 2. Fastest race lap, that was Fernandez on lap 5, a 1:36.2. And the best race lap, which I would have thought was the same thing, a 1:35.8, that was Acosta. Yeah, wait a minute. What's the difference between the best race lap and the fastest race lap?
It's just the best race lap is just the best lap around the track.
Isn't that the fastest, though?
Yeah, I think it's just... I guess, I don't know. Because sometimes, I don't know.
Yeah, probably, yeah, I'm being thick.
Is that the previous?
No.
Who said that?
Best race lap set in 2022, Pedro Acosta, 1:35.8. Check it out on the MotoGP.com website. Moto 2
It'll
results.
crash my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, oh yeah, don't know. But someone else check it out and just double check that I'm not being thick. Best race, maybe is that the best race lap with all the sectors? You know, how they combine all the sectors to come up with like an ideal.
Because the ideal was like 0.7 or 0.6, I think.
No, I don't know. Should have asked Matt Dunn, who'd probably know, but I don't know. That's really confused me. Anyway, moving on, we've got to talk about it. Jake Dixon.
Can't put it off anymore. Yeah, it was, again, it looked promising for Jake. Started second on the grid. Where do we... yeah, it's something that keeps creeping in. You keep thinking he's going to find confidence with these good qualifying sessions, and then crashes out once again. I believe it was... I can't remember. I was going to say he crashed out towards where he crashed out in 2020, but I might be completely wrong with that. I can't really remember it very well, so I'm going to avoid saying that. But I thought after the podium in America that would be it. This would be the thing that lit the touch paper, and Jake would put in some good results. He's qualified well in most of the races since then, but he's crashed out in he's crashed in all three of the next 3 races. He's not scored points in any of them. Obviously France he continued, but Portugal he crashed out, Spain he crashed out, and here we are again with another no point weekend for Jay Dixon.
Indeed. Incidentally, he was classified as a race finisher and not a DNF. Finished 41 seconds behind. But either way, Jack, your thoughts on Jake Dixon this weekend?
It seemed like he wasn't really there most of the weekend. He got quite lucky getting a 2 off Acosta in qualifying. So that's probably what's got him into second. And we saw him drop back throughout the race, and I think he just slipped off at turn 13. Sort of a similar crash to Pecco. Because they said they made a change with the bike at the Barcelona test, and that helped with his front feeling of being on the limit. But it wasn't working at Le Mans, so they had to go back to what they used to know, so that might be something. But I think, for Mugello, I think his main goal should be probably just to finish the race. And then in theory, because of how well he did in the Catalonia test, that should be somewhere where hopefully he can finally put a result together again.
I didn't check out any post-race quotes or interviews or anything, mostly because I was busy doing stuff at the weekend. But has Jake said anything about his recent disappointing run since that podium and the reasons possibly for it? Or is it just racing incidents? I don't know.
I haven't seen anything. Oh, I've just seen something actually. I'm not riding like I know, and I'm making errors, is what he's said, and he's just happy that the team constantly believe in him, which I guess doesn't really say much, but we all know how Jake can ride. We've seen it in BSB, we've seen it in America, and it's obvious that he's, especially with the mistake he made in Jerez with the crash with Aldegar, I believe it was, into the Lorenzo corner. So if he can stop these silly mistakes, then Jake should come on some good form.
Jack, is he trying too hard? Is he trying to push too much, which is causing or contributing to those mistakes?
Probably, because when he's riding well in free practice, he's obviously got nothing on him, and he can ride really well. It comes to a race, I don't know what it is, but he seems to, maybe it's just his own mind or what, just something, he's just a little bit off. He makes these odd mistakes. So in Portimao, all he had to do was just toot round in the first lap, and all he had to do was contend with Roberts, which I think he could have done easily. But instead he tried to push and got caught out. So it's just, I think at the moment he's his own enemy. If he can just finish just in the top 10, I think, in Mugello, I think that will just be enough to get him going again.
Possibly. What do you think, Luke?
I agree with Jack. It's we've seen it before. Jake's a confidence rider, and just needs a semi-decent result to get his confidence back, and he'll be hopefully back in the flow again. Yes.
Hopefully he'll string together a decent race. Maybe not do the. I have a feeling that it's mostly like a British tendency for some British riders, especially when they've come directly from like BSB, to have that sort of balls to the wall mentality, which doesn't necessarily translate well in MotoGP in the GP paddock anyway, on track. Or am I talking garbage? I mean, clearly he's fast enough, and he's proved that, but he's also making mistakes.
Yeah, I get what you mean, actually, from thinking about that, because there is the thing of BSB, it's very competitive, it's very fast-paced, it's very almost gung-ho sometimes when you look at some riders. But Jake, I mean, you see both the British riders in Moto2 outside the top 10, and really, it's not all we're expecting from either of the riders, Sam and Jake, this season. But Jake's been in Moto2 long enough now to know how you need to ride a season to be competitive. I want to say 4.
This is 4th season.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Jack, any possible thoughts on why he might be making those mistakes? Is it... Is there some sort of external mental block that he's got, or could it just be a case of his continued style adaptation? And I don't know. Well,
I think his style, I don't think that needs any more adapting, because he's been on that bike for 3 years now on the Calex, so should be a problem. I think it's just ironing out those mistakes, and just because I think maybe because he's had these DNFs, he's probably thinking, "Oh, I can't afford to crash," but that's what's causing him to crash, possibly.
Overthinking things, yeah.
Yeah. So I think he can just focus on riding and just finish the race. I think that's all he needs to do.
Okay.
For now.
Well, the championship standings in Moto2 at the moment, it is Vietti who is leading. I'm looking at the right thing here. Yep, 108 points from Aguirre on 92 points, and then Aaron Canet in third with 89 points. Arbolino, who on 70 points, and then Fernandez in fifth place. Joe Roberts in sixth, and Sam Lowe's in 11th place in the championship, just ahead of Jake Dixon, who is in 12th at the moment. Hopefully that will change for the next round, but who knows? Don't know. Any other bits of information and news or gossip about Moto 2 before we move on?
Sam's injury.
Sam.
Sam, when I was looking through all the lap times, it looked like it was going to be a race between Acosta and Sam until Sam's qualifying crash, and then that caused blurred vision and all kinds of stuff in warm-up, so he couldn't race. So it probably could have been, it probably could have won or got second had he been able to race fit.
Yeah, the old what if. We will never know. But yeah, he might have done. Anyway, on to Moto 3. And Luke, tell us the main stories of Moto 3 from the weekend.
I mean, my main thought after watching it was that Jaume Masia, who towards the start of the season, when his results really weren't going the way that it should have been, to say that, he is a Red Bull KTM IO rider, he's turned his fortune around. He's had 4 podiums on the bounce, 2 of those being wins, and he's definitely in with championship contention now, as he's only 17 points behind Sergio Garcia in the championship.
Okay. Jack, your thoughts on how the race unfolded?
Yeah, I mean, Masia, since winning in Austin, sort of what we thought it would happen if he can just get that result, sort of get over what happened last season, and he's now right on it. Sasaki, I think, could be really kicking himself because he had that race won, and then he just let the door wide open at turn 13, as Neil Hodgson pointed out. And I think Garcia as well might be kicking himself a bit because he made a bit of a mistake somewhere near the end of the race, which cost him quite a few points. Because now it seems to be a battle between Foggia, Garcia, Guevara and Masia, possibly Sasaki as well. If he can just get that first win, he could be in there. Maybe Onchu as well, if he can get some podiums. But Masia definitely seems to be the man on form at the moment.
Yeah, well, Masia, just having a quick check on the old championship standings to see exactly where everyone is, and he's it's about. I'm crap at math, so I can't do the points difference just off the top of my head. But he's right up there. He's in second place, just behind Garcia, and Foggia in third place, tied on points, 95 with Masia, so technically level with second. Dennis Onchu in sixth place, with Sasaki in fifth, and talk amongst yourselves. I'm just having a look through the older website. I'm trying to find out where Scott Ogden. 19th place, Scott Ogden, 14 points level with Ivan Ortola. So technically 18.
John Coe also.
Oh yes, so technically joint, and 1 point behind John Mcphee. Who'd have thunk it? Really. I mean that's technically 1 point at this stage, but anyway.
John has missed 5 races there, to be fair.
Yeah, but with all his experience and everything, stuff. But yeah, the actual race itself, talking points, Luke. Who impressed? Who disappointed? John, where did he finish in the race? He was
finished
in
12th, just outside top 10, yeah.
Yeah, just ahead of Riccardo Rossi and just behind Holgado as well, but really not much in it at all, to be honest. He finished 12th. And Josh Watley in P26. And, Scott with the DNF. Anna Carrasco finished. That's something. I don't know. I'm just trying to pick out a few positives from the field. Yeah, so I don't know. Let's talk about John Mcphee. Always a favourite here on the Superbike show.
Start straight in with the Brits, really. With since you've just brought them up, John Mcphee. It's a good showing on his first return. I thought he's returned from broken vertebrae from a Supermoto crash, I think, and 3.1 seconds off the race win. And in for the majority of the race, he was in the front group, just towards the back of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, he probably would have liked to get a top 10, but there's no point pushing himself too hard just yet. He's obviously ready to race. He's shown he is, and it was quite impressive to see what he could do, and hopefully it will improve for the rest of the season, and we'll see John manage to get a ride somewhere for 2023, since he can't be a Moto3 next season.
Jack, your thoughts on the return of John Mcphee? Impressive, average, disappointing? What do you think?
I think he did all right. I mean, he didn't make too much progress, but I guess he just didn't. I think one thing he wanted to make sure he just didn't crash, just in case that did anything. But finished 12th, that's decent. Mugello, that's probably like a 20 rider train lottery win. So God knows where he can finish in that. But for a comeback race, he was inside the top 15 pretty much the entire weekend. Averaged about 10th to 12th. Solid weekend, and should be better as the season goes on.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, he only finished 3.1 seconds off the leader. And considering you're coming back from a bad back or a broken back, very, very good performance. I'd suggest, personally.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Pretty good, strong weekend back, I would say. A thought about Josh Watley as well. Is he still finding his feet in Moto3, as it were?
Josh did improve. When you look at Josh's lap times throughout the race, he was finding pace throughout the race, and he's getting to grips with it now. So hopefully, obviously, Josh has got years ahead of him still, and there's obviously talent there. So I think if we give him time, and he'll just keep improving slowly but surely throughout the season, and then into next season. Yeah,
and no pressure on him, really. It is a learning year, really, for Josh, and same for Scott as well. Ogden, that is. So there you go. Overall, Moto3, how much did we enjoy it? Out of 10, what might you rate the race, Luke?
Hectic as always. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Obviously, there was the slight mishap at the start with the wet weather that came in and caused it to get red flagged rather early on. So that was a shame, but we still got a very good race out of it.
Okay, and Jack, for you, Moto3, how was it?
Yes, similar score. I mean, it was almost deja vu, but from Portimao, saw the rain at the start, and I was just praying to bring the red flags out, and they just brought them out just probably a couple of corners too late again. And so they'll need to keep an eye out on that, because that can't really happen again, because luckily all the riders got out again, but it was very, like, I can't think it was Guevara. He was very close to not making it, with Aspar looking very, very relieved that they just got out in time. But as a race, it was very good, hectic, loads of overtakes. I really enjoyed watching Suzuki at turn 3. Just how he was able to go through that corner was amazing, and just the constant battles of everyone. But yeah, pretty good race. Okay.
Well, let us know what you thought. Did you rate any particular riders? Do you disagree with anything that we've said here on the show? You're allowed to disagree. We're not going to cancel you. Don't worry. Then get in touch. Use the comments box wherever you're tuned in to this Superbike show. We would love to hear your thoughts, if you can string a sentence together. That is. It's usually the ones who can't that often get in touch. But anyway, talking about ratings, Luke, you've been judging everybody from the very beginning. in that we asked you to rate all the MotoGP riders, and we are continuing to do that as well. So I don't know if you've done Moto 3, Moto 2, but I'll just ask you anyway, because we've got some other bits of stuff to talk about. MotoGP, in reverse order, from 1 to 10, or 10 to, 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
That's right. Yeah, just checking. Give us your MotoGP rider ratings, please.
Right, I'll go through these quickly tonight. So there's quite a few 1 out of 10s tonight. I've given 6 riders 1 out of 10s. Just I thought they were very disappointing.
Wow.
Both the Tech 3 riders of Fernandez and Gardner didn't seem to have a very good weekend between them. Still learning the KTMs. Miguel Oliveira, I gave him a 1 out of 10. It could have given him higher. He was okay in the race, but he just needs to. He needs a good result to staple his way into that team next season. Because obviously now Rins is on the market. Looks like Miller's going to be on the market. There's been links with him there, so Miguel could find himself out of a ride for next season. Can't be crashing out of decent position still. Where else are we? Martin. It's just depressing, really, with Martin. That's his 5th no points of the season. 4th retirement due to crashing. Might be his 5th actually due to crashing. It's been a wretched season for Martin, and I don't believe he'll be in the factory Ducati team next season, or he shouldn't be, in my opinion. Again, could have given them higher. Mir and Rins, I both gave 1 out of 10s. I don't think they had a very good weekend at all. Probably thrown themselves out of the championship challenge now, and both look like they could have gone better. Bagnaia, I gave him a 2 out of 10. Purely,
why does he get a 2 when he also DNF'd?
I think purely I gave Bagnaia that because
you like him.
Pace he showed. No. I've never said if I'm a Bagnaia fan or not. I could hate Bagnaia. I purely think there was something there from Bagnaia. It's there. We can all see it's there. Bagnaia has the pace. He needs to hold it together in those crucial moments, like in that race. That was an easy second. This is what we've said about Jack Miller for years, that he needs to be headstrong, and that's what happened to Bagnaia in that moment. He needed to be headstrong. Darren Binder, I've given him a 2 out of 10 as well. Solid ride. He finished the race. He was very far behind, but he finished when a lot of people didn't, in 17th. Dovizioso, 2.5, just ahead of his teammate. Really struggling on that Yamaha. Should probably call it a day at the end of the year. I think a lot of people have been saying that. Franco Morbidelli, I've given him a 3 out of 10. Scored points, but it's the Yamaha woes. It's the Yamaha troubles. Alex Marquez, I gave him a 3.5, just ahead of Franco. Came from 21st in the grid to 14th. Horrible season for Alex Marquez. He's 19th in the championship, behind rookie Marco Bezzecchi. I don't believe he should be an LCR Honda next year either. Paul Espargaro, I've given him a 4 out of 10. Very average weekend, 11th to 11th, 12th in the championship now. It's just, something's not right there after what was an amazing pre-season. Fabio Di Giannantonio, I gave him a 4.5. I was rather impressed with Digi this weekend. He qualified 16th, finished 13th, by far his best weekend in MotoGP yet, and he's definitely talented, and he stayed on the bike like Darren Binder when a lot of other higher-end riders didn't. Marco Bezzecchi, gave him a 5 out of 10. Again, it was a solid weekend for a rookie like Marco Bezzecchi. Definitely very talented. We've seen that with his 2 9th place finishes this season, but there's definitely something there with Bezzecchi, and I look forward to see where he goes, and he should definitely be in MotoGP next season. Vinales, 5.5, finished 10th, 2 places in front of Bezzecchi. It was an average weekend again from Maverick, being overshone by his teammate. Will still whinge about how the bike doesn't suit him and how he would change for the bike. Marc Marquez, I gave him a 6 out of 10, sixth place in the race, 10th in qualifying. Again, I think he benefited from people crashing out in front of him. It was very clear to see that Mark didn't have the pace to run at the front. It looked like there was just he was helped by a few people making mistakes in front of him. Rins, Mia, and Bagnaia for sure would have definitely helped him with the game, gain 3 positions there. So really, he stayed on when others didn't. So it was a decent weekend for Mark. Marini, I gave Marini a 6.5. I was very impressed with Marini, 9th place. That's definitely his best result in MotoGP as well. Still needs to improve this season in MotoGP. Still needs to improve he's got talent, but he needs to improve that one step further to show he's the lead rider in that team. Taka Nakagami, a 7 out of 10. That might be the best result I've given him this season. This is joint best result of the season with another 7th place in a row, 12th to 7th. Other than Marquez, Taka looked like Taka was the strongest Honda rider, and it was very impressive from someone who, before a couple of weeks ago, we were recording to be out of MotoGP, but he's still showing that 7th place is a reasonable position for where he's at. Zarco, I gave him a 7.5 out of 10, 9th to 5th place. Not exactly what the French fans wanted, but I'm sure Zarco will be happy with a 5th place. He's now above Bagnaia in the championship as he's 6th for now, so he'll take that. Binder, gave him an 8 out of 10. I was so impressed with Binder, 18th to 8th, with a broken wing from very early on as well. The man is just... he's just so, like I said with Pecco, he's not headstrong, but Binder is. He doesn't give up, and he has ultimate drive when he's racing. Quartararo, gave him an 8.5, 4th to 4th. Again, not what the French fans will want, but Fabio will be happy with that for the championship. He's still leading. Aleix Espargaro, 9 out of 10, 3rd to 3rd. Another podium for Aleix. She's doing incredible. Miller, 9.5 out of 10, 2nd to 2nd place. It was finally a very strong, mentally strong race for Jack this weekend. Got passed by Bastianini, couldn't catch Pecco, didn't think, right, I'll go with it, and then throw it down the road. He's settled for 2nd. He was happy with 2nd place, and he's now the top. He's now the 2nd highest Ducati in the championship, top 2022 spec Ducati in the championship. Bastianini, obviously, a 10 out of 10, 5th to 1st. Another incredible weekend from the Beast, and he's showing why that's his nickname.
Okay, couple of things to mention on that controversial rider rate. It wasn't one of the most controversial, but you did put Paul behind, and also Marquez, both the Honda riders. You did rate them lower than the people that they were actually finished ahead of. Is that just your bias, Luke?
No, they're both incredible riders, and I don't have anything against Repsol Honda or the 2 riders. And really, there should have been more from them, and they're from where they were, but they didn't have the pace. And really, like I said, they both sort of inherited that position in a way from people crashing out in front of them.
Jack, what do you make of that curious list of Luke's rider ratings? Would you have put people differently?
I think would have given Rins and Pecco a little bit higher scores, because throughout the weekend they were very strong. Rins' crash was a bit of an odd one. I'm not convinced it was 100% his fault. So I think he deserved a little bit higher. Pecco was pretty much 1st or 2nd the entire time until he crashed. So I give him about 3 or 4, but they're generally about right.
Okay, interesting. Who would you have had? In terms of the Hondas, what I just mentioned, he seemed to rate them lower than the couple of guys who they actually finished ahead of. Surely that's not right.
Yes, but those guys have higher expectations than the others. So, for example, Mark beat Taka, but you don't expect Taka to be that close to Mark. So, sort of your perspective, the public perception of people. So,
yeah,
you'd say Taka will never be 1.5 seconds behind Marquez in a race, and he just was. So, that's a very good performance. That's why he'd outweigh Mark.
Okay, interesting. Let us know if you agree with Luke and his rider ratings. Interestingly, Luke, do you want to give us, have you got the season top 3?
I do.
In reverse order then, who's your top 3 so far of all the races and all the ratings that you've compiled? Let me just compare that with the actual MotoGP Championship top 3.
I can
who are
tell
yours?
you now they are. The top 3 riders from the championship are all in my top 3, but just in a different order. I looked at this earlier.
Go on.
Let me just scroll down to it. So, in third, I have Enea Bastianini. Actually, that might be the different one. I can't really remember from what I looked. Yeah, Enea Bastianini in third, which is bang on to what it is in real life.
Okay.
And then I have Quartararo in second. He is 1.5 points behind Aleix Espargaro,
Okay.
who is in first.
Interesting.
That's my top 3.
Interesting. We will, as I say, on every show, we will keep on top of these rider ratings and make sure that they're not too, I don't know, crazy.
I think I counted it earlier, and I've got about 5 or 6 that are the same.
Interesting. But anyway, yeah. So in terms of MotoGP and the weekend, is that everything that we've talked about? Is there anything else?
So in terms of MotoGP and Moto3, Moto2.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Also, returning this weekend, but we don't have any unless Jack's got anything. It is World Superbikes this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
And I didn't have anything pre-prepared for talking about that. But unless Luke and Jack have some big points of order to raise, what will happen with Top Cat and Johnny Ray?
I have thoughts, and I think me and Jack talked about this last week. I'm not sure if it's on the show or not, but
Remind me.
Bautista out of the final corner will be a weapon. So watch out for that if he can stay on. That is obviously. Please don't crash Bautista. I've probably jinxed you now with my predictions.
So Jack, your I suppose thoughts on World Superbikes as it stands at the moment, and what might happen this weekend? Where are they this weekend?
Yeah, it's gonna be just top rack Ray and Bautista. What order? I don't know. Depends who. I'm guessing if it's gonna follow how it has the past 2 rounds, Toprak will get pole. Bautista will have the fastest race pace, but Ray will be the best racer. But things don't do it that way. So
what about a BMW podium, maybe?
If it's one, I can't see it happening. But you never know. There might be some shenanigans that go on, like in Assen, where you got 2 of them crash and it's a free for all for the last 2 spots. So possibly, but if the top 3 stay on, I can't see it.
Interesting. Okay, well, I will try and watch it live this weekend, even though I'll be at Donington for the Honda British Talent Cup, and also I think BSB are on the support bill of the Talent Cup, or the other way around, I should say. But I'll be mostly there for the Honda British Talent Cup at Donington Park. 2 great races on Eurosport, or the Eurosport app, or the Discovery app, or Quest. I don't know exactly off the top of my head.
I think it's Eurosport 2 and Quest.
Yeah, it's
this weekend.
Saturday, Quest on Sunday.
Yeah, or if you've got the thingy pass to watch it live streamed, yeah, you can just basically tune into that and watch it all day, all the races, all live. Boom. Basically, just a giant world feed of everything, if you want. That's up to you. So that'll be happening this weekend. We'll talk maybe a bit about BSB, but there was also the small matter of the return of the Northwest 200 recently. And, well, Luke, tell us, headlines.
Well, Glenn Irwin's gone over there and he smashed out the park in the Superbike race. He won both of them. I only managed to catch the first Superbike race, but he had a great battle with Davey Todd, and it was just he was really impressive on the Honda, and hopefully he can carry that over back into British Superbikes at Donington, where he's well in the past, and over to the Isle of Man further on in the season. Yeah,
he posted on his social media thing that literally 10 weeks ago he was basically a raspberry ripple in hospital, broken everything, having had a pre-season crash doing something. What was it? What did he do? Motocross or something? I don't know. Whatever it was. I forget now. That was ages ago. But yeah, 10 weeks ago, he said basically he was a bit broken, and then to come back, boss BSB in the way that he did do at Silverstone and the Northwest 200. Pretty impressive, I'd say, Jack.
Yeah, he was a bit slow in the first session, but then on Saturday, from Thursday onwards, there was not many people that could touch him. Only really Davey Todd and Peter Hickman, but Hickman messed up in. I can't remember what corner. I don't know what the corner is, but it's a corner after a really, really long straight before the bridge, and so he couldn't fight with Irwin. But Glenn was just on cloud nine. Just didn't put a foot wrong and just looked really good out there.
Yeah, definitely. And it was good to see the whole Northwest back again after what seems like many years away. And I think it was just I had the same feeling of being sort of relieved that racing was back last year when we were sort of coming out of all the COVID lockdown stuff. And I think it was the same sort of feeling. A lot of that, it was like everyone was just glad to be there, glad it was on, and just happy to be back. Back on at the Northwest.
Yeah, it was the first. I mean, it's the first time I watched the Northwest live, so it's good to see. Looking forward to the Isle of Man, and yeah, it's just good to see road racing is fully back.
Yeah, Luke, did you catch up on how Josh Brooks went?
I did see he got a podium in the second Superbike race. I said didn't see it, but he got a third place, which was good for Brooks to see that really he was, well, to the press he was brought in last minute, but it could have been decided beforehand. But he did well for Paul Bird, and yeah, he did good. And I don't believe he's going to the Isle of Man though. I think that was pretty much.
Yeah. Well, he's not ruled it out either, though, has he?
I think Paul Bird may have confirmed that it wasn't happening, Jack.
Josh said that due to sponsorship they couldn't do the TT because the deal he did with PBM is just BSB, and it was a separate one with Michael. And because he already had everything set up with Dunlop, Josh just contacted Birdie and said, "Can I race?" And he went, "Yeah." Pretty much as simple as that.
Fair enough. Okay. Interesting one. Okay. Who else? I'm just thinking from BSB. Who else was actually...
Dean Harrison?
Yeah. He...
oh, yeah.
Third place in a super stock 2 race. He was someone else from outside of the BSP paddock that should be mentioned is Jeremy McWilliams.
Oh yes, he ended up with after the what's it got disqualified. He ended up with a couple of podiums, I think, or at least one podium.
He got 2 podiums, yeah.
Yeah, in the Super Light,
Super Sport, and Super Twin.
Yeah, Super that one. But yeah, basically there was a disqualification for, I've already forgotten the reason, but I was scrolling through and I think it was yesterday it was announced. Jack, do you remember what the reason was?
It was announced on Sunday, I think it was. Cooper he had something on his bike, I can't remember what it was, but someone in the Super Twins complained about it, and was deemed illegal, and he got disqualified from both of his race wins.
Interesting. Okay. I suppose staying with Superbikes and BSB at Donington this weekend. And is Tara McKenzie, is he definitely back this weekend?
He should be. I think he's just got to pass the medical tests, but I believe he'll be fully back.
Yeah, it's ringing a bell now. And I think there was a press release midweek to suggest that he had had a medical and that it was looking, or he might be subject to a final medical at the weekend.
He'd done a test at his local track, Donington Park, obviously the one we're at this weekend, and he had good feeling on the bike, and he's ready to be back, basically.
Question
back in racing.
Yeah, question is, though, Luke, how will he go?
Oh, I knew you'd ask this. I don't want to.
You're just scared of jinxing him because you're saying, he'll win and he'll break his leg again.
No, he won't win, but
so
I
think now.
It's going to be a slow and steady start. I think for Taz, I think top tens would be a good return, even though he likes Donington. Yeah,
home. Well, basically home track, really, isn't it? Yeah, Jack, your thoughts? Should he take things slow and steady, or will he not do that and try for many wins and struggle? Or not?
I think he'll go steady, but he'll try as well, because I think the weather, I'm not too sure, but last time I checked, was a bit mixed. Because for some reason, Donington, for the past 4 meetings, has been really bad in terms of weather. One, it's been just flooded, and people not fan of Donington in the wet. So it could, Taz could take advantage of that because the wet's a bit less physical. He could spring a result out. But he should do well, but you just don't know because where he'll be with the bike, because the bike, you've seen Jace struggling a little bit. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah, you reminded me of, I think it was 2020, that race, or that weekend, I think there was at least one BSB race cancelled because of the weather, and they basically had to rip up the whole schedule and move things around. And we were, I think, just grateful to even go racing, I think, that weekend. So, so hopefully none of that. Please, because I'll be carrying some heavy equipment with me and I don't want to be wet doing it. I mean, you don't want it, do you? Right, Luke, Tom Sykes, this weekend, what's he going to do?
Mr. Donington. Tom Sykes. Well, if he's going to have a decent result anywhere this season, it'll be at one of the Donington races. So I'm not expecting a race win. I'm not expecting a podium. But I'd love to see Tom Sykes crack a top 7 or a top 5. It would just be something that I personally
from Mr. Donington, a top 7. You think he can achieve that?
I'd love him to.
Okay. Tom Sykes, Jack. Have we all been overrating him a little bit too much?
Well, the first round at Silverstone, I think the bike was the problem, not him, because Brooks was in exactly the same place. And then at Alton, probably not the best place to go to after struggling with the bike. Donington, you'd think he should do better, but I just don't know how competitive that PB and Ducati is at the moment, because they've got the bike back to where the pace was in 2020, but the problem is the pace has moved on. And they need to, I know Josh is trying to find something to get back to the front. Tom, you'd think he'd be able to make the difference because he's got pole on the BMW. But I guess it'll just be roll out the garage and just see where he is.
Yeah.
He could easily be out the points, so how BSB is.
Yeah, ultimately, I mean, we could talk for hours about who'll do what and how well so-and-so will do, but just get out there, see how they actually get on and do. Friday practice will be everyone always underplays or downplays practice, especially when they do well. If they're like top 3 or something like that in Friday. Yeah, it's only Friday. You know, they can't draw any conclusions from it. Blah blah blah. Except usually the ones in surprisingly well on Friday, that performance carries through to the weekend, the Saturday and Sunday racing. So we will see. Good luck, Tom, by the way. And another guy with another home track, Leon Haslam, started to come good recently. Some initial signs of some good performances.
Yeah. You don't get closer to a home track than Haslam at Donington Park. He should do well there. He got a bit lucky for a safety car at Alton to get the podium, but he still got podium. And yeah, it's just the Kawasaki seems to be, he's still trying to get to grips with it, but it's hard to say because BSB is so close, and you know you've got people who were out the top 10 last week and they could easily win this week. So yeah, you just have to just see. I think this will be the first time Leon will race the national layout because he didn't race it in 2018. So should be interesting. But I'm pretty sure he's taken the Robert Chicane before. So
yeah, I mean it is also his home track as well, yeah. And so yeah, you'd think as a default you'd expect him to do well anyway. Which might be a disadvantage for him because he knows that everyone's automatically expecting him to do well at Donington, and maybe he will do well. Hopefully, he will.
Yeah, I don't think Leon will. I mean, he's the kind of guy to go, but people expect me to do well. I'm going. I think he just goes into it and he knows what his expectations are and tries to meet them.
Okay, Luke, what will Leon do at Donny?
Oh well.
Or what will he do?
I think
like
there's a chance. No. I think that Leon might have found momentum now that he had that podium, and he had 2 good results at Alton, I seem to remember. I can't remember what positions they were. I've had a 5th place as well. So I'd like to see Leon do well towards the front. I think he has the potential to. The Kawasaki, Lee Jackson and Rory Skinner have both shown this season so far that it's a competitive bike, it's a competitive package. Whether the Vision Track Racing Lee Hardy team have that will be a different matter, but I think there's a chance that he'll be up there, especially with his history around Donington as well, like Tom Sykes. Okay.
There was an announcement recently regarding, as I'm only asking you this because you are the number 1 vice president of the Christian Eden fan club. There was an announcement, was it today or yesterday? Recently, anyway, about him racing somewhere else, doing something else. That's all I can remember from my timeline.
I didn't see an announcement as news to me. I just know he's been in Spa testing with the Yoshimura Suzuki endurance team with Gintoli, Simeon, and I'm forgetting the 3rd rider's name. But he was there. I think he's still there today, testing around Spa and looking strong with them. But potentially that was what the announcement was. I haven't seen one myself.
Okay. Well, I guess it was that then, because you excitedly told me about it earlier.
I did.
And well, I just presumed it was with a view to doing something.
Yeah, that's what I can see as well. It seems interesting that Christian would be over there in Spa when the BSB definitely don't go there. So it was interesting to see why he'd be over there.
You know what? You've just started now. A thread about interesting European track. Of course, it's going to be Assen. But Assen aside, which other European Grand Prix track should BSB go to? Maybe I'm going to say Spa. Oh, it's too dangerous. Can't go there. But I'm going to say it. I've said it. Jack. Luke's opened a can of worms. What are you saying?
I don't know. There's so many you could choose from.
Le Mans?
There's a lot of the most BSB one possible. Maybe like Vallelunga or something like that.
Okay, random.
That really
what a choice.
Because one that's really tight, fast, loads of close walls. It's a bit bigger. It's like sort of like it's in kind of track, but it's a very. From the 2 years they had at World Superbikes, it looked like a really fun track to do, and it's really fun on the game to do. So why not Vallelunga?
Okay, well, I did ask, and there you go. A couple of final questions then regarding BSB this weekend, and mostly because I just want to roll out my new graphics between you and me. Kyle Ryde, what's he got up his sleeve for Donington?
A brand new forearm, because he's had his.
He had
he had it last.
I said that without even knowing.
Yeah, he had it last Wednesday. Showed. I don't know when he's getting his stitches out, but he's got his arm all plastered up, so he should be good to go. Donington, he was really quick there last year on the BMW, so could be a race win for him. I'd imagine top 5, unless something goes wrong. But unless it's BSB. But yeah, you shouldn't be affected by safety car this time.
Well, yeah. If styles of track and if there's any conclusions to draw from what happened at Silverstone, Donington is a Silverstone style circuit. It's big, it's wide, it's kind of you got a few long straights there. Luke, how will Kyle Ryde go this weekend?
I've probably got to agree with Jack here that if his operation has gone well, and if his, because some riders take a while to fully heal. I know Cal Crutchlow's had problems before with arm pump surgery, so hopefully everything's gone well for Kyle, and if it has, he'll be right towards the front end, and he will be for all 3 races in theory, so that'll be good to see. I think a bit like his teammate Bradley Ray.
Brad Ray leading the championship, I still believe, yes, but also another rider who's recently also just had surgery for their arm pump is Storm Stacey as well. Another sort of kind of local to Donington, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, about an hour away.
Yeah, that'll do. But yeah, he's a bit of a curious one, Storm. A lot of people wanting him to do well, a lot of people supporting him, but I mean, let's be honest, he's not done much this year.
He's sort of exactly where I expected him to be, where I thought he'd be. I said before the season, if Storm can get regular points, I think he scored points in 2 races out of 6 so far, which isn't bad for Storm. Because he's still young as well. We can't forget that he's still 19. Definitely, yeah. He's very young. He's been around for a bit now, and I think top 12, which he got at Alton in race 3, was a good result. So if he can carry that over to Donington, then I think it'll be a good weekend for Storm. Yeah,
Jack, are you a Storm supporter?
Yeah. He only lives like 10 minutes or so away from me, so.
Oh, right.
Good.
Did he deliver your curry the other week?
It was about 2 months ago now, but yeah.
Right, okay.
But yeah, he was at Alton. Curry still had the arm pump. I thought he did a great job. He just kept being stuck behind Tom Sykes. So he progressed in the race, and he'd find Tom, and he just couldn't get past Tom. So, but Donington, he was strong there last year. He had his best ever BSB result, and then in the international layout, he was in 2nd place before his crash. And he's led there as well. So, what? He and the team can make a step with that Kawasaki. Who knows? Possible top 10. If it rains, maybe even a podium. But yeah, that's just to see, because he's going to be in the side. He's going to be in the points, I reckon. But no idea where.
Interesting. Well, that all leads us on. We talked about Glenn Irwin and how basically sort of dominant he's been of late. Although that would be the impression. However, Mr. Bradley Ray is leading at the moment. Bradley Ray on social media, quite a character if you don't know. This week he posted a couple of videos celebrating Ben Curry's birthday. He...
Brad Ray's birthday as well this week, I think.
He's very clearly delighted at that fact. Yes, Brad Ray. As I say, bit of a character. And we do love the, as his new nickname, Bradders, former Milky Bar kid. Leading the championship at the moment. Can he come away from Donington still number one?
Sorry, quickly, I've just seen this while we've been on air. I've just been having a look, and Christian Idden has posted while we've been on air, and he said that he will be joining the Yoshimura SERT Suzuki team as the fourth rider for Spa and the Bold Dwarf for the 24-hour races.
Boom, breaking news. You heard it here, second. So there you go.
Yeah, Christian Idden will be part of the
Did he post that roughly at the same time that I said it? I said.
No, he posted it a little over an hour ago.
Oh well. Must have been telepathy or something. I don't know.
Unless the team announced something or...
I knew he had.
But yeah, I wondered why he'd been at the test. It sort of seemed like something would be announced from it, yeah.
But anyway, he's done the thing that we thought he would do anyway and announced the ride in the thing. And good luck to him anyway. He's 37 from Stockport. And why not? Basically.
Sorry for the interruption there. I thought...
we always like a good bit of breaking news. Brad Ray then, will he come away from Donington still smiling?
Yeah, if everything goes his way and he doesn't have any crashes during the weekend, which I personally see Brad being very strong at Donington. So I think he's definitely one to watch this weekend.
I can't remember his previous. I can't remember if he did. He's not won at Donington, not in BSB anyway.
Yes.
Okay, he has won at Donington in BSB. Obviously, I've forgotten about that.
He won his first race.
That was like the only other places really well at.
No, I think he did that. I thought he was all at Brands.
No.
Okay.
No, that's just his home track.
No, he did do something. Oh, fuck it.
He led the race for ages at the Indy circuit until he ran wide and Shaky passed him.
That's right.
Like two laps to go.
Okay.
Shaky's last win.
Okay, well, clearly I've got Alzheimer's then because my memory's going. I don't know. No surprise to anyone. But anyway, okay, so favourite track of, or maybe it's not, but he's clearly done well at this track before. And but do we want to put too much pressure on him?
Who knows? But he did really well down the BMW, got second there. So he's got to be one of the favourites. He's definitely one of the favourites to win this weekend. And I guess we'll just see how it goes. The Yamaha should suit that track really well. He's on top form. At least a podium. That's the worst I expect him to get. But that probably means he's going to do rubbish. But we'll see how it goes.
We will, indeed.
After our Fabio predictions.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, yeah, I mean, we on this show, I think probably in the past few seasons have been maybe guilty of over-expecting and putting a bit of pressure on Brad to perform because of his early performances in BSB. Sort of blasted into it, all guns blazing, and then he sort of went right off the boil for a couple of... You don't need me to remind you about what happened, but hey-ho, he's back on the podium and doing well in BSB, and that's all we can ask for, really. And we just hope everyone has a nice, safe, happy, pleasant weekend. Also, Honda British Talent Cup as well. A couple of bits of news to tell you about in that from my memory because I didn't write this down. But Sullivan Mounsey, as we said last week on the show, is back. He's racing with Wilson Racing. The interview is on our website right now from last week. Check it out, motorsport.radio. Very mature sounding youngster is Sullivan. For anyone who's heard him or listened to him or talked to him, he doesn't seem like whatever age he is, 15. Yeah, he's more mature than I am, but that doesn't say much either. But yeah, so he's back. There's also been a rider and a team drop out as well. We've lost one team, and also there's been an injury to another rider as well. Sorry, that sounds really vague because I was obviously doing lots of prep before and I didn't write that down. But anyway, yeah, hopefully everyone will qualify for this weekend, because if you didn't know, it is basically a knockout qualification rule, and they're really, really, really strict about it in BSB. So what happened at Alton Park, which got missed by a few people, even confused myself as well at times, because we're not used to it, really, I suppose. But yeah, 35 riders turned up to the paddock, but only 32, was it 33, were eligible to actually race and be on the grid. So that meant, luckily, I say luckily, through injury and some other things, there was only one person who suffered that dreaded DNQ, did not qualify. But Holly Harris did race for race 2 because there was a further dropout, and she was like the first reserve to make up the numbers. Interesting format, some might say, but yeah, hopefully everyone will turn up and get a ride and not be disappointed, because that's, I think, one of the most disappointing things. If you turn up, certainly as a parent, if you're spending X amount of thousands of pounds turning up, you know, putting your kid through all of that sort of stuff, and then you don't even qualify, then you've got to do the drive of shame back home, you know, hit all the McDonald's along the way. Anyway, no thoughts about that, clearly. So anyway, other points before we, I think that's pretty much it, really. We've had 2 comments in about some stuff that I wanted to bring up. Going back to Sykes, we've had one from Johnny Hatton where he said Sykes might not win a race, but I wouldn't be surprised if he puts it on pole. Obviously, referring to Sykes' incredible pole record on World Superbikes, especially around Donington. Interesting.
Other one, going back to the European tracks, we had one saying, don't send them to Europe, let's do a round at Laguna Seca.
There's always one who suggests, like, although, I mean...
Laguna's an amazing track, I agree. Yeah. I'm going to agree with that.
Would it be completely out of the question for, like, a Moto America link-up for, like, one exhibition race or something, or one showpiece, one, you know... I don't know. They would
probably smash us around Laguna Seca.
Well, yeah, but there again,
surely
if Moto America come to Cadwell Park, then, you know, we're going to... I suppose Cadwell Park would be our Laguna Seca, wouldn't it? Really?
Let's take MotoGP and World Superbikes back there instead.
Anyway, we're getting into silly talk. But yeah, anyway, that sounds like an interesting thread that I might take up on and bore everybody with. On the BSB and Support Fans Facebook group on the Facebooks. Incidentally, this weekend you can listen to all the BSB race action here on Motorsport Radio, on our 24/7 radio stream, and hopefully the quality will be a lot better than it was at Alton. I don't produce that coverage. That's literally just an external feed that we relay, and we have no quality control over it other than to just press stop if it gets too bad. So we'll do it again this weekend. Hopefully it's a lot better. Duncan Vincent and Larry Scoop Carter on the mic this weekend, I think. I don't know if Kerry Cobb is back, or Captain Cobb as she's known, my old colleague from Radio Silverstone. But yeah, should be a good one, and always good to listen to. We didn't ask Matt Dunn his thoughts on his industry colleagues, did we?
No, and it's probably worse not to.
Yeah. Well, we can just read his Twitter. For information like that. Yeah. Although we never revealed who the GP journalist is who everyone hates.
It's probably best not to as well.
Everyone already knows anyway. So, yeah. Jack, any final thoughts? Are you going to Donington this weekend?
Yes, on the Sunday.
On the Sunday. And I've just reminded myself about your esport thing. Just remind us what you said earlier.
Yeah, so there was one announcement, and that is Andrew ZH, who was the 2019 world champion, has decided to move to Suzuki. So he'll be racing with Suzuki this year, which was quite a bit of a shock when I found out about it, because he's been Ducati for 3 years. But yeah, it should be interesting.
Okay. Any news on if you will be racing or where or what?
No news yet.
Okay. When might that news drop?
Well, I suspect the news of everyone will be available by next Thursday in the Max, because that's when qualifying is. So that'll be the latest of the latest. It'll be all revealed.
Wow. And so when's the first race? Is it that
next
weekend?
Friday. Next Friday.
So I suppose you've got to kind of keep that weekend open just in case they pick you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
Wow.
It's a weird one. But
yeah. So they could literally tell you last minute, hey up, Jack, you're with Honda or whatever. Because you don't get to pick, do you? Or do you? No, it's the teams that pick.
You have multiple offers, yes.
Okay.
If you only have one offer, no. If you don't get an offer at all, then yeah. It's a bit strange, but
I'm sure you'll be all right, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll probably remind me to ask you in time for next week, because I'll probably forget, as I usually do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what track is it that they'll be racing on?
So it's being held at Mugello on the Friday night, and the two races will be Sachsenring and Mugello.
And do you win anything for the individual rounds, or is it just the one championship prize?
No, I mean you get a Michelin cap. It's as far as you get a load of pride for it. It's about as much as it gets, I think. But yeah, I don't know, because I've never been there when they've been at the start of the season on site. So
fair enough. I suppose you get the glory of being the MotoGP esport winner of the round, and you get coverage, and it's all done very nicely and professionally and stuff. Is it Jack Appleyard doing the commentary on that this year?
I believe it'll be Jack Appleyard and Jack Gorst again.
Okay.
I've not heard 100%, but I should guess it'd be.
See, I know what I'm talking about with commentators and stuff, at least. Or it might not be them, but who knows? Yeah, so good luck with that. But again, remind me, because I'll have well forgot. There's like a whole week between now and next week to go. Yeah. Luke, thank you very much for coming back on the show this evening. Because, I don't take you for granted, especially your dodgy internet that you've got there.
Yeah, no problem.
And it lasted.
Yeah, hopefully it's been not too bad for people watching, and for you guys dealing with it. You got next week, and then I'm back home.
Yay. Okay. And Jack, thank you very much for also joining us as well. And I guess I'll bump into you at Donington, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. And if anyone does see us mooching about and like to say hello, I'll say hello. Yeah, it's always nice to say hello to people, isn't it? So, there you go. Everyone racing and riding this weekend at Donington or wherever. Have a nice, safe weekend. Thank you very much for tuning in once again to Motorsport Radio. It's been the Superbike show, and you can go back and listen to all the content on our website, motorsport.radio, for all the latest on news and stuff. Luke will be publishing. What have you got coming up? Any big opinion articles or anything, Luke?
I'm sort of just working on where I think Rins and Mir will end up, really, at the moment, of how that will slot into 2023, in my opinion, of what the grid will look like for next year is mainly what I'm focusing on at the moment for opinion.
Excellent. So that'll be dropping soon, will it?
Soon. There's a lot of. I was waiting till after Le Mans to just finalise some things and see if anything was announced, especially since Ducati will probably announce something at Mugello. So I'll definitely want to get it out before then.
Oh, cool. All right then. Excellent. Thank you very much once again for the 10th time. And thank you. And we'll see you. And good night.
This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation. Contact the show on Twitter, on Facebook, and on our website, Motorsport Radio.